There is a particular kind of ache that doesn't make sense on the surface. It lives somewhere between your chest and your throat, quiet some days, unbearable on others. It shows up when a song plays, when your phone lights up with someone else's name, or when you wake up at 3 in the morning and reach for a presence that is no longer there. What makes it so confusing? What makes it feel almost like a betrayal of yourself is that the person you are missing is someone who hurt you, someone who lied to you, left you, or made you feel small, someone you promised yourself you were better off without, and yet, here you are, missing them anyway. If you have ever felt this way, I want you to know something important before we go any further. You are not weak. You are not foolish. You are not broken. What you are feeling is one of the most deeply human psychological experiences that exists, and understanding why it happens is the first step toward freeing yourself from its grip. The brain, when it loves someone, does not file that person under a single category. It doesn't simply store them as good or bad and then discard the ones who fall into the wrong column. Instead, the brain builds an entire neural architecture around the people we attach to. Every shared memory, every laugh, every moment of feeling seen, these experiences create real physical pathways in the brain. Neuroscientists have found that the same regions activated by romantic love are also activated by addiction. Dopamine, the brain's reward chemical, floods the system in the early stages of a relationship, training the mind to associate that person with pleasure, safety, and aliveness. When they are gone, the brain doesn't just experience sadness, it experiences withdrawal. This is why missing someone who hurt you feels so irrational. Your logical mind understands what happened, it has reviewed the evidence, counted the red flags, and delivered its verdict. But your nervous system hasn't received the memo. Your body still holds the memory of their warmth. Your brain still fires along those deeply carved pathways, still reaches for the dopamine hit that their presence once provided. You are not missing who they were at their worst. You are grieving who they were at their best. And the painful truth is that both versions lived inside the same person. There is also something called intermittent reinforcement that plays a powerful role in why these attachments become so difficult to release. In relationships where pain and affection are mixed together, unpredictably, where someone can be tender one day and cold the next, loving in one moment, and cruel in another, the brain becomes hypervigilant and hooked simultaneously. The unpredictability actually intensifies the bond. When kindness is inconsistent, we work harder for it. We notice it more. We hold on to it longer. It is the same psychological principle behind why a slot machine is more compelling than a vending machine. You know exactly what you get from a vending machine. But the slot machine, the one that sometimes rewards you and sometimes doesn't, that is the one that keeps you pulling the lever. That is the one you cannot walk away from. This isn't a character flaw. This is your brain doing exactly what brains are designed to do: seek reward, seek connection, and survive emotional uncertainty by staying engaged with the source of both pain and pleasure. But the psychology goes even deeper than brain chemistry. For many people, missing someone who hurt them is also tied to something that began long before that relationship ever started. The patterns of attachment we develop in childhood, the way our earliest caregivers responded to our needs, whether with consistency or chaos, warmth or withdrawal, become the templates we unconsciously carry into every relationship we form as adults. If you grew up in an environment where love felt conditional, where affection had to be earned, or where you had to manage someone else's emotions in order to feel safe, then relationships that replicate that dynamic can feel strangely familiar, not comfortable exactly, but known. And the brain often mistakes familiarity for safety. This means that when someone hurts you in ways that echo old wounds, there is sometimes a part of you that doesn't just miss them. There is a part of you that is still trying to fix the original story, still trying to be enough, still trying to earn the consistent love that felt just out of reach in the beginning. The person who hurt you becomes, without either of you realizing it, a stand-in for something much older and much deeper. And walking away from them can feel not just like losing a relationship, but like giving up on a wound you have been trying to heal your entire life. Think about the moments when the missing hits hardest. It is rarely when you are thinking about the arguments, the betrayals, or the nights you cried alone. It is when something good happens and your first instinct is to tell them. It is when you are laughing and you catch yourself thinking they would have loved this. It is in the ordinary, unguarded moments of your life. The coffee you used to share, the way they said your name, the specific frequency of their presence. What you are grieving in those moments is not just the relationship. You are grieving a version of your life that felt whole. You are grieving the future you had already built in your imagination, the one where they were different, where things worked out, where the love was enough to overcome everything else. That grief is real. It deserves to be honored, not dismissed. Telling yourself you shouldn't miss them, forcing yourself to focus only on the pain they caused, or feeling ashamed of your own longing, none of that actually accelerates healing. Research in psychology consistently shows that suppressing emotion doesn't dissolve it. It drives it underground, where it continues to shape your behavior and your choices without your awareness. The path through this kind of grief is not around it. It is through it, with compassion for yourself as the guide. Healing from missing someone who hurt you requires a kind of radical honesty, the kind that can hold two truths at the same time. The truth that they hurt you, and the truth that you loved them. The truth that the relationship was harmful, and the truth that it also contained moments of genuine connection. The truth that leaving was right, and the truth that right doesn't always feel good. You do not have to choose which truth is real. You do not have to diminish one in order to justify the other. Both can exist, and learning to hold them together without collapsing into confusion is one of the most sophisticated forms of emotional growth a person can achieve. There will come a point, not all at once, not on a schedule you can predict, when the missing begins to shift, when it starts to feel less like hunger and more like memory, when you can think of them without the same pull in your chest, when the neural pathways begin to quiet because you have stopped feeding them with hope and fantasy and what if. That point will come because the brain is also remarkably capable of healing. New experiences, new connections, and the slow, steady practice of being present in your own life begin to build new pathways alongside the old ones. The old ones don't disappear entirely. They rarely do, but they lose their power to direct your life. What you owe yourself right now is not the erasure of your feelings, but the space to feel them without judgment. You owe yourself the understanding that missing someone who hurt you is not evidence that you are confused about your worth. It is evidence that you are human, that you loved, and that love always leaves a mark. The goal is not to become someone who never gets attached, never gets hurt, never grieves. The goal is to become someone who knows how to move through grief with enough self-awareness to choose differently the next time, and enough self-compassion to forgive yourself for the times you didn't. You are allowed to miss them. You are also allowed to heal. And slowly, gently, those two things will stop feeling like contradictions.